Hey guys, I wanted to cover some of the basics, what our balloon pump looks like, which you'll see when you get out of the package, initial prep and access stuff, and then we'll cover connecting it to the balloon pump and what happens when the balloon pump comes in the room, the first things that need to be done, and stuff was covered in the earlier video. So this is what the C2 or the second circulator, whoever is assisting in the room, will hand off to the scrub person. So depends on the height. The 50 cc on the box says it's for 5'4" or greater of their height. The taller the person, the longer the aorta, the aortic diameter and size, the larger the balloon that is needed for the counter pulsation. They're going to need more size. So it displaces more blood. So when you open it up, there's two stopcocks that come in here. Those will be attached at the end. This is a sheet that says expiration date and everything. This is a step-by-step guide. This is pretty good if you're a new employee or you just like reading and everything. It comes in every one of the balloon pumps. But it tells you the insertion kit and all the parts and step-by-step of how it goes in case you have any questions. So the first box is going to be your access. It has your needle. It has this one white dilator. It goes from very tiny up to like an 8" size. This is for a sheathless insertion. We don't use that one. And then there are these two. The two that are right there is this. This is the dilator that you're seeing right there. This is the sheath. That will go in, gets inserted. It actually goes in and twists to lock right there, okay? Don't just push it in, because what happens is the physician will go to push it into the skin and then pushes the dilator back. So remember that it does twist and lock, okay, when you take that out of your scrubbing. There's the helium extension tubing right here, and then two extensions for your transducer that will go on and get flushed. The next box is your actual balloon pump. Well, the balloon. The balloon is in this blue covered, hard covering. T-handle is, if you read in the literature, is what that little blue thing's called. It's a T-handle cover. I leave it covered up for the physician. I let them take that off, because balloon unraveling and getting messed up, that needs to be their responsibility. So this is a one-way valve that is connected to a 30 cc syringe. And that's all going to get prepped, but this comes in there, and this is a fiber optic cable. So this port, I'm going to show you, I have one open here in a second, has a couple things you have to do to prep that, but that is everything that is in the box. 2 packages and some stat locks, okay? And here, there's your wire. It's all wrapped up. I'll show you that in a second. So, but remember, if you have the opportunity to put one of these in, keep the green book. It's good for reference, okay? In case you're not able to get to the videos. I went ahead and laid out basic access stuff that you're gonna have to have before that even goes in. These are separate items that need to be dropped. And right here, there's actually 2 items that looks like multiple things. This green 6 French pinnacle comes with a short J wire. That is gonna be the last 2 items that you see here. These 2 go together, these 3 go together. These 3 are a 4 French micropuncture. It comes with a tiny 018 wire, a little 4 French transitional dilator, and a 21 gauge needle. So these 2 will go together. What you'll also have to have is an ultrasound probe cover. So you're gonna drop that, get your probe cover on, lay that up there ready. If the doctor wants ultrasound, not all of them do, some of them don't use it. They might use a physical marker on their femoral head. But the way the micropuncture is, after the lidocaine, this goes in, bubble up, you will see wire access. This goes in and holds their place. They might use X-ray or fluoro to watch it. they're gonna hold that wire in place and the needle comes out. When the needle comes out, this little transitional dilator goes in, and this is a 2-part thing. They'll hold that and feed it in. That's gonna go in. Once it does, the tiny little part on the inside, this white part, I unscrewed. When it comes out of the package, make sure that is tightened up, okay? I'd already tightened it, so they're gonna loosen that, they're gonna hand that back to the scrub part, and that is the white center part of the transition dilator in that wire. This is gonna be your 035 wire that comes with your pinnacle, and that part is gonna go in. Where my fingers is, this is gonna be your skin. All of this is going in the body past this part. So that we are now moving up to a larger wire so that our 6 French pinnacle can go in. When that happens, the other part of the transitional dilator comes out. That is, it is a 4 French little gray tube. After that, the pinnacle can actually go on. It doesn't go on the little 018 wire, but it does fit on this. So this sheath will be flushed, and then the dilator gets put in. These dilators snap, has little teeth all the way around the Terumo, and make sure that your stopcock is turned off to the sheath, okay? You'll give that to the physician. They're gonna push that in, and then they're gonna take out the dilator, the blue dilator, and that wire. Now they have femoral arterial access, okay? Your sharps are off the table. Take those off. And everything else is. Now once that wire is in, they're ready to upsize. Now the sheath that comes in the balloon pump, like I said, is this 8 French sheath. There's no side port, there's no flushing this. You can flush the dilator if you want once you put it in. Some physicians might opt to go for a smoother sheath for better insertion. If they do, a lot of them will want the 8 French pinnacle, okay? It does have a side port. It does not have this little wire. So you can keep that, or if you have a long J wire, exchange J, or a standard J, whatever, 035 wire, you can exchange sheaths over. If not, they can use this, but that dilator will come out. You will still flush this sheath, put your dilator in, and that's ready to go in. When that happens, whatever wire is in, if this was already ready, they could back this out. The 8 French can go in. Now, if you lay all your access stuff up there, and they'll untwist that and take that out. They are more than capable of getting their access, and as long as all the equipment's up there, you have your lidocaine and all the equipment that I just mentioned so far, lay that up there, because you're gonna be sort of busy. You'll have time while they're doing that to prep this. This is the package that had the balloon in it, okay? I'm gonna show you. The fiber optic cable is a mess. It was wound tightly behind there, but so this sheath is in. This is the one-way valve that I was talking about. If it accidentally comes off, it does say balloon on here. It's in clear letters. It's gonna make it really hard to see here, but there's an arrow. So that's gonna get connected. It's a slip tip. You will put that on, pull negative, and then while negative is on, you can unscrew that. So what I did there was I pulled 30 cc's of negative pressure on the balloon that is in this hard T-handle, okay? And it is keeping the negative because of this valve that is on there. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one of my flushes that I have on the back table. Out of this little 3-way connection right here, the clear tube that comes off is your helium. That's what you already prepped and pulled negative. The orange is gonna be your fiber optic. That's where it's gonna get your pressure and do all of your in vivo calibrations and zeroing. It will do that. This gets handed off in a second. The last one is this lure lock right here. It's the only place where this can go. So to prep this part, you connect and then you flush 3 to 5 mLs of saline out of it. When you do that, it is coming out of the end of the balloon, okay? It only takes like 3 to 5 mLs, I believe that's what the literature says, and that is ready. Sorry, this fell out of the T-handle. It's been used a couple times, but I will leave that in there for the physician. Now, that is ready to go, and it should be like ready on your back table. You will have this this sheath already in, and in the other package with your access stuff, there is this wire, usually has this little pink tip. This is a 025 wire. When they get ready to go in, I usually just hand them the whole T-handle and all of that. Lay your other equipment back here on top of the patient, and it is ready to go, okay? Some go in with the wire first. Some want you to back feed the wire in through this port so the wire comes out the end. That's gonna be up to them. I'll show you that way. So you can take this connection. If you're okay with straightening out that kind of wire, you can do it by hand. If not, it has this cheater. Just pull the wire back into it. Cheater will go inside of there, and you're gonna feed that wire in. Now the wire's gonna keep going. The doctor will take the balloon out of the T-handle, and they'll have that part, okay? Now, they might get the tip of it in the sheath, and once they do, they're ready for you to feed your wire, okay? You can feed your wire up. My wire should start coming out the end of my 8 inch. It's gonna start going up iliacs and into the aorta. And once it does, that is gonna be in place, and they can advance the balloon in over the wire, okay? So just remember that wire will go up, and on fluoro, you can watch it go up to the arch. If it starts going around the arch, that's fine. There's no need to go all the way around to the aortic valve and cross over. Just up far enough to where you know that the balloon is going to get placed. The balloon needs to be distal to the left subclavian, but proximal to the renal arteries, okay? Because while it's inflating, if it inflates, every time the heart is in diastole, while that balloon's inflated, it could actually occlude blood flow to the left arm, left carotid, and your renals, depending on if it's blocking one or the other. But that's gonna get advanced up. Say your balloon is from here to here, and it's gonna be in between those 2 arteries in the aorta. And once it is, back here on your side, this wire is gonna come out. You will pull that. You're good to go. So your wire's out, you need to start making your connections. Connections over here, you have your helium connection, you have a fiber optic connection. I usually rip off this blue cord, the paper off of it. You can take this, you will hand this off to your circulator. Remember that you don't want to keep, the balloon pump needs to be at the foot of the table, it needs to be plugged up, and all EKG cables need to be on the patient and taped for securement before this happens. That is something, as soon as the balloon pump comes in the room, it needs to be connected to the patient with the EKG cables. That is going to be our initial trigger, okay? So once that is on, you can pass the stuff off as soon as the balloon is up and the wire's out. As far as the connection here, there's a clear tubing. It comes in the package. Here's your helium extension tubing. It looks like this. It's going to be all in a circular thing. It has these little blue clips on there. As that's going down to the end of the foot, if you wanted to, at the end when you're securing everything, and you can make it all nice and neat if you have those kind of OCD genes. Make it pretty, okay? Try to secure it. You can also either use the fiber optic in there, or the your transducer cable, I believe, fits the clear tubing. But once that is in, they'll disconnect that. You hopefully heard that vacuum that was pulled on there. That connection will go on there. This slip tip goes over to the, you'll see that connection in a moment on the back of the balloon pump. So both of these will get handed off to your circulators, okay? once they are connected, your balloon is okay to turn on. There's a start button. It does take 45, 50 seconds or something like that. It does this initial calibration. It zeroes automatically, and it does that by the fiber optic cable, which goes to the end of the balloon. At the very distal tip is where it gets its pressure, the fiber optic does, okay? So after it's done at zero in calibration, the balloon will auto-fill and deflate. It'll get its EKG rhythm, and then it will automatically go on every 1-to-1 is what it comes on in the automatic settings, okay? We need to leave ours in the most automatic settings that it has. We don't do balloon pump timing here. There's it is smarter than us. So thank you.